take tea, my dear? I like my toast done on one side. You can hear it in my accent when I talk. I'm an Englishman in New York. You see me walking down Fifth Avenue, a walking cane here at my side. Take it everywhere I walk. I'm an Englishman in New York.
So this week I'm here in New York, and one of the most famous watch and jewellery centres on earth, the Diamond District. An area that runs on 47th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue in glitzy Manhattan. And if you've ever watched Adam Sandler's Uncut Gems, then you'll have had a decent glimpse at least into the world and the intense energy of New York City's Diamond District. This famed area of Manhattan has over the years been surprisingly resilient in a city and an industry that's continually changing. What's more, it also happens to be a site where you can find just about any piece of jewellery, diamonds or indeed watches that your heart could possibly desire. But is Hollywood's adaptation of this unique part of the city a genuine representation, or is the real world something completely different? And what are the pros and the cons of shopping here? The potential for a bargain or the possibility of a really bad deal? And over the next couple of days I'm going to be looking around and asking all the right or indeed the wrong questions as I try to find out. I'm in New York City's Diamond District, and I'm in Ultimate Diamond in the Diamond District, and I have two special guests joining us on the channel today. They are
Nirvana
and
Athiana.
Thanks for joining us. So how long have you guys been working here?
About 2 years in the industry.
Same, 2 years. We both came at the same time.
You both come at the same time. So what attracted you to the watch and jewellery business? Is it something that you like, or?
We needed employment.
Sorry?
We needed a job.
You needed a job? Okay, well that's honesty for you. Now you better be careful because the boss is over to my left here.
I actually love watches and I love diamonds.
So tell me, what's it like working in the Diamond District in New York? What's your experience so far?
It's different. You like see everything. There's not one thing I haven't seen. You learn about business, law, and you really see like what goes down behind the sale.
So tell me a little bit about what goes down. You know, is it? Tell me about your customers. Do you have you obviously have a really wide variety and different types of customers?
I was gonna say you don't know what you're gonna get every single day. Every day it's different.
Yeah.
Dealing with different personalities every single day, different characters, different wants, and things like that. So truly, every single day is different. So. That's what I would say. So mostly focus on engagement rings, although there is a lot of clients for watches as well. So we slowly getting into watches in a larger mass.
Yeah, and are most of your customers from the United States?
They're from all over.
From all over the world,
yeah? Very touristic block, so we get everything.
Many from the UK at all?
Yeah,
a lot from the UK. Yeah, a lot from the UK.
Well, that might understand why you can actually understand me, because most Americans don't understand a word I'm saying. So.
No, I hear you loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
So tell me, I noticed that the lab-grown diamonds seem to be really popular at the moment. Everywhere I walk around the Diamond District here, lab-grown diamonds are in the windows alongside the natural diamonds. Now, a lot of my viewers are going to know very little about lab-grown diamonds. What can you tell us about them?
What I can tell you is that, so let me start by saying that 80% of our sales here are lab grown. There's
80%?
like 80%.
Wow.
And there's a big misunderstanding with people thinking that lab grown is like a fake diamond or it's moissanite, but it's real. It's a real diamond. It's made up of carbon. If you use the diamond tester and you test a diamond, it still goes beep, beep, beep. It's a real diamond. The only difference is one is made in a laboratory. One, it comes from the ground, and you're not paying for the laboratory grown for labor, time, because that's very, very expensive. So that's...
What would the average price difference be percentage-wise between a lab-grown diamond and the natural stone of the same sort of colour, clarity?
Very big difference. It depends, because diamonds get priced out per carat, but it would be 10,000 for the natural, would be equivalent to 3,000 or less for the lab.
Wow, so a big difference.
Huge difference.
And you know, I think we always have to be honest with our customers. I think the one thing that every customer wants is transparency and honesty. But there's a bit of a difference on the resale side of that, though. Is there down the line if someone wants to resell it on?
The biggest misunderstanding is that a diamond would be an investment. So that's what we like to rely to our customers, because they're thinking they're going to get the natural and they're going to get back, if that or more, of what
Twice
they paid
their
for.
money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or with lab, but really it's not true for either. So it's like preference. It's up to the customer, but keep that in mind when you're shopping for a diamond. You're never going to get that number back.
Yeah. Now, you'll have to forgive me for some of the questions, because I actually retired from the business before lab-grown diamonds became a thing. I mean, if you wanted something like that back in my day, it would have been moissanite. So I'm not familiar with lab-grown diamonds myself. What is they still grade them in colour, or do they all come out pretty much the same colour?
Everything's done the same process.
Yeah.
They're graded by the 4 C's, color, clarity, cut, and carat weight.
Okay.
So it's really the same process if you were going and buying a diamond that's coming from the ground.
So even a lab-grown diamond can have inclusions?
That's right.
Okay, wow, okay. So when your customers come in and they're not quite sure what they want, what do you tend to find sways them one way or the other?
So we wholesale both, so it's not that we're persuading one more than the other, but we like to educate, and then after we've laid everything down on the table, it's really up to the consumer whether they want to do lab or natural. If they tell me they want lab, great, beautiful. If they want natural, then I'll bring out the natural stuff.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of giving them the choice, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the end of day one, Sunday, hadn't really planned on doing any filming today. I didn't think anything would be open in the Diamond District, but a big thanks and a big shout out to the guys at Ultimate Diamond. Made me feel very welcome indeed, and I've got a funny feeling it won't be the last that we'll be seeing each other. I've had a really weird start to my trip to New York. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing here exactly. It's a bit of a flash visit, out Saturday, home Wednesday. I'm here to meet some very important people on behalf of Digital Watchful in the law enforcement area. Just some initial talks. Whilst I'm here, I'm also going to be doing a video with Roman. Obviously, that's got to be done. So Roman's very kind enough sending me a car from Philadelphia. He's going to come and pick me up on Tuesday morning, take me down to the facility. I'm going to do a bit of videoing, and then he's going to drop me back off later after we have some dinner. So that should be really nice. Had a complete nightmare getting out here. Got to the airport and they'd oversold the flight. And get this, I flew out from Gatwick. They wanted wanted to send me to Heathrow. I said, no, I'm not doing that. Then they wanted me to downgrade from business to economy, and I said, I'm definitely not doing that. Anyway, in the end, luckily enough, one of the guys working at the airport, watches my channel, he come over and he said, I'll get you sorted. So he rang the captain of the flight and said, I've got a guy that needs your seat. And I said, hold on a minute, I don't want to fly the bloody plane. And obviously he laughed. He said, no. What it is, they reserve one of the business class seats for the captains to have a lay down if they want. So the captain very kindly allowed me to have that seat, which meant he didn't get a break. But I got here in the end. New York is a crazy, crazy place. I've been living off McDonald's now for almost 24 hours. Some of you won't find that surprising. But, I mean, it's a great city. Very vibrant. It's like Brighton on double steroids, if you like. A lot of homeless people around. A lot of people that just different, you know, the way they dress and the way they act and behave. Nothing bad, but just really unusual. Not the sort of thing that we see back home every day. But yeah, always enjoy coming to America. Apart from the messing about that you get when you get to the hotel, right? It's all bought and paid for. You walk in, and the first thing they want is $500 for some wacky tax. I don't know what that's all about, but what can you do? So tomorrow the filming starts for real. I'm going to get back into the Diamond District, and what I want to do is, what I'm here for, is I want to find out how safe is it for people buying watches in New York's Diamond District. One or two dealers today that were there wasn't very many people around at all. Didn't get the most welcoming reception from one or two. They didn't seem at all interested in YouTube or, you know, any publicity. But listen, guys, I've come across that a lot before, particularly with the old school dealers. They just like to stay private and go under the radar. But we see what tomorrow brings. I think it should be interesting. I am with Boris in Motion in Time in New York.
Good to see you again.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here, Boris. Thank you so much for a magnificent New York welcome. I really, really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Our door's always open. Even when it's closed, just come in.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, I've got to say, wow. I mean, this is one hell of an amazing collection that you got here. Tell us a little bit about your business and how you started. I've just been having a little chat off camera with your dad, lovely guy. Yeah, Tell us about the history of the business.
He's definitely an acquired taste. So, I mean, what's to say? I've been doing this since I was out of high school.
Yeah. I
went to school here in Baruch College on 25th Street, specifically so I can come to work every single day to work with my dad.
Yeah.
He's been in the business since 79, 80. We've been doing this for a long time. We've transitioned specifically only into watches about 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's you know what they say, do what you love and love what you do.
Yeah.
This is the perfect interpretation of what I do.
Well, the first thing that strikes me as a former dealer myself, and you know, speaking to a lot of dealers around the world, the first thing that strikes me when I walk in is like lovely presentation.
Thank you.
All the watches are nice and straight. You know, when you walk in somewhere and some are upside down and they're laying on their side, but everything look, is presented beautifully, everything's covered. Tell us a little bit about New York's Diamond District, because I'm here for a couple of days, just have a little look around. I think one of the misconceptions among people is that jewellery centres like this, you have to be very careful, but I can't believe how friendly everyone's been and how they seem to be doing business in the right way.
So, you would think that there's so many dealers that are, compressed within one district that there would be a conflict of how people will work together. But it's a complete opposite. I mean, we're here, and it's like one big family. Everybody kind of helps each other out. So I'm a firm believer is to treat others how you would want to be treated.
Exactly.
And, that being said, in terms of first, let's say what you say in terms of our presentation, we wouldn't treat our product the way when we want to buy something, we want to see it being treated properly.
Yeah.
So if I see that the dealer is mistreating something, or if he just keeps things in a bag or whatever it may be, it doesn't kind of jive well with me.
Yeah, it tells you a little bit about the person. Yeah.
So we go above and beyond in terms of what's considered to be, proper handling and what we expect our clients to receive. And the Diamond District as a whole, it's just one of those things where, yes, it's definitely had a bad rap for the last 50 years, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it's extremely secure in terms of walking around, especially what's happening in the world today as a whole.
Yeah.
So New York City, it's always going to be, it's a concrete jungle.
It's amazing that you mention the safety. Now, I come from a country where there are no guns held by anyone.
Which is interesting. I was surprised that you mentioned that.
Yeah. No, your security guards out here are all armed. There's police everywhere. Your doors are open. Your shutters are up.
It's not a buzzer, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's much more kind of calming to know that New York City has so much police presence. So I'd say, kudos to NYPD. We love everything they do for us.
Yeah.
There are definitely times, especially recently, where we feel a little bit unsafe.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we know that we have the backing of our city. And I remember during COVID, there was like some sort of rioting, whatever it was. We had, within minutes, barricades up on both 5th and 6th Avenue.
Wow.
They didn't let people in or out. No trucks, no cars, nothing. And the fact that I could say I'm very happy to be a New Yorker and say that we're taken care of by our government, knowing that they stand behind the people. So sometimes it gets a little bit confusing, but ultimately we know that when push comes to shove, they're there for us.
They've got your back.
100%.
Yeah.
So
it's a complete contrast. I hate to say it, but that's really, it's a complete contrast in the UK now, where a lot of the guys in our business feel let down. Nobody's got their back.
It's a sad thing to see. It's very hard as a business owner to sit and worry about security.
Yeah.
So obviously we have our own security, but ultimately the bigger picture is what happens outside.
Yeah.
It's who you let into your place. You could control. But ultimately, when you walk outside, you are in the hands of the city that's holding you. So if you're not comfortable where you're working and where you live, it says a lot about the place that you live.
Yeah.
And for where we are, especially like in New York or in London, these are considered like, in Roman times, this is the capital of the world. So you want to be taken care of over there. You can't walk around, scared. And, it's when you're walking in fear, it's the fear that has won.
Exactly.
So it's not the right way to live. I wouldn't want my kids to live like that.
No,
And
exactly.
I'm sure you would want your kids to live
No,
like that.
I don't. But I must say, walking around New York, I've felt safer here than I have in London. Let's talk about something a bit more positive. Watches, you've got, wow, where do I even start? First of all, let's talk about the business itself, because we all know last year or so there's been a bit of a change. How have you guys coped with that?
There was a significant shift in terms of value of watches versus, what there was a less product available and more buyers. And it's completely turned around this year.
Yeah.
Where product is kind of, the spigot has been open a little bit, and the market has cooled down, especially with regards to, Bitcoin and all that stuff. You had a lot of buyers that were buying it out of speculation with the concept of making money on it. As I always believe, buy the watch because you love it.
Yeah.
And then if it increases in value, great.
Great,
And
yeah.
if it doesn't, you bought it to wear it.
Yeah.
So unlike a lot of things that you could buy, watches are one of the few things that men can wear. We don't wear jewelry. We don't wear, what do we have? We have a car and a watch.
Yeah.
That's it. So ultimately, you buy something that you wear it, and in the long term, I'd say more times than none that your watch will appreciate. I have very rarely...
It's always worked that way, hasn't it? The last really, to be fair, I think this mad phase that we went through, I don't think any of us really saw that coming. I know I didn't see it
I
coming.
definitely didn't see it.
I think it just blew all our minds, but there were so many factors involved in why that happened.
It wasn't one specific thing.
No, it wasn't one specific thing. And I think, now we're getting what I would sort of say almost back to normal.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think. I'll tell you my opinion first. I think that getting back to normal is actually a good thing for the business.
100%.
You believe that as well?
100%. Because we want to be in a business where people buy because they want to keep it where it's enjoyed. Not because they're looking to score on it and then just flip it till the next one comes in. There's a problem when your client becomes your dealer.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, because that is what started to happen, right? I mean, we almost became the client, and the flippers were becoming the dealers. Right. It was them that was getting the stock, right?
Yeah. So I'm very happy to see that it's kind of turning back around to where it should be.
Exactly.
Where not kind of sucked out of it, and you're enjoying it.
We want to be supplying brand new Rolex with a little bit of discount, right? Not with like 50% premium.
We're okay without a discount.
Yeah.
But we want to be able to sit and sell something to somebody that's not just going to sit and throw it in the sink.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's always important. We have clients for years that come back to us. They trade, they buy, they trade, they buy. Mm-hmm. Those are the clients that actually buy it because they appreciate it.
Sure.
Not because they're looking at it as a dollar sign.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to do it, because ultimately those guys are the ones that make the money.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they bought it and they held it long term.
So what's hot in New York right now? I mean, looking at your stock, you can supply, I mean, anyone in the Diamond District, I've got to tell you, they've got to come along and see the guys here, because if you can't find the watch that you want in this store, it probably doesn't exist, right?
Thank God for that.
But what's hot in New York right now?
I mean, Rolex, I guess, is always going to be hot. That's
models? Any particular models that's...
Any sport model. What you hear typically is sport models. Those are facts. Yeah. You're not going to change that.
Same all over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah.
I'd say less desirable on the mainstream. You have your complicated Pateks, which I love. Mm. You have your sport Audemars, which I also love. And then you have your off-brand stuff, like you have your Chapards and your Breitlings and Girard Perregaux, which are a lot of watches that are very well made, that are very underappreciated. Mm. And then again, you have your indies, like you have Peugeot, Clinin, and so there's kind of a little bit for everybody.
Yeah. So, what's behind Rolex at the moment? What would you say, Patek?
Patek is always going to be, I think, number one.
Yeah.
And Rolex is always,
I mean, sales-wise.
Sales-wise, Rolex is always going to be the best.
Yeah.
I think it's exponentially higher than the close second. That's just because if you think about it, if you're getting married or if you're buying a gift for somebody,
sure,
you're going to buy something that has brand recognition. Something where, even though an Omega would be a nice watch, but ultimately, if you're giving somebody an engagement present, you want it to be a Rolex. Yeah. Because you want that brand recognition. You want them to know that, hey, I love you this much and I spent X amount of money on you because you mean this much to me.
Sure. What about there's been a lot of fuss recently over consignment in the business. Do you guys consign? Do you just buy, or do you do a bit of both? Or?
We do, mainly we buy.
Yeah.
So we do have consigned items, but that typically that happens with clients that might have overpaid for something. Mm-hmm. And I would recommend, hey, you know what, you own it for X. If I buy it, I have to buy it cheap enough to stock.
Yeah.
But I have an idea. If you consign it to me, I'll put it up in the open market, and we take 10% of the sale price.
Yeah.
So this is something mitigates your loss.
Yeah, exactly.
It also gives me the ability to sell it, making a small profit without having to, invest the money into it. But again, those are they're far in between. Most of the time we buy and then we sell.
Yeah. A sort of a dealer to dealers question, really, if you like, albeit on camera. How do you cope with clients that maybe have overpaid in the past? How do you try and get them to understand the market has moved? Because I know for a fact, because I experience a lot of people outside the trade that somehow don't quite just get what's gone on, and they persist in trying to get the old price today.
It's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And that's, present company included. We have watches that we've overpaid for in the last 2 years that we're going to take a hit on, and it's understandable. It's the cost of doing business. But when you take a Patek that you paid $500,000 for and today you're selling it for $200,000, you don't make $300,000 on a watch. Mm. But when you lose big. So ultimately, it's very hard to justify and to explain to a client. But you put yourself in their shoes and you say, hey, it happens. It happens. Just as if you were investing in the stock market. If you did it as an investment, you need to understand there was some risk involved. Mm. But ultimately, I try my best to guide my clients into buying things that are not the hype watch. Mm-hmm. Those are the watches where it fluctuates the most. You can make the most, but you could lose the most. So more or less, those pieces are always the ones that are fluctuating.
Yeah. That's always my advice right now when people are saying, what should I buy? I say, look, go out and buy yourself something that's not been super hyped, that's not way over list, and you know, you can't really go wrong. I mean, I'm looking at some of your older pre-owned stuff over here, you know, the 16233s, 160. I mean, you just can't go wrong with them, can you?
It's a kind of a staple in the brand.
Yeah.
You have a Rolex Datejust, you can't go wrong with it. But I always tell my clients, when you open up your drawer, what do you see yourself grabbing and wearing first? That's what you should buy. I'm going to show you 5 watches now. Forget about what the world is saying. When you buy something, what does your heart say in terms of, would I wear this, would I not wear this? When would I wear it? You know, would I be wearing it every day, or would it be collecting dust and I put it on once in a blue moon?
Yeah.
Only you could answer that. I can't guide you in that direction. I can give you the options, but you know yourself better than anybody.
Sure.
So if you want to buy something that's, you know, long term, you can buy complicated Patek. And even though people are wearing less suits today and more kind of casual stuff, at the end of the day, you could determine whether you're going to be wearing it or is it going to be collecting dust. And that really dictates, in terms of the world of watches, where will you buy it, where it stands.
Yeah. So as we come towards the end of 2023, earlier on this year, I think about May, I made some predictions where I think certain models would end up by the end of the year. We'll wait and see how close I'm going to be. Otherwise, I've made myself look stupid in front of the world. But
it's kind of hard for you to do that.
Yeah, thanks, mate. What about 2024? Where do you see the market in 2024?
So fortunately, the market is still pretty strong. It fluctuates a lot in terms of the price itself, but sales are still not so bad. You know, thank God our American client base is very strong. The European marketplace kind of goes up and down. It's hard to. Asia also fluctuates tremendously. Just globally as a whole, there's so many factors involved, so many moving parts, it's hard to kind of pinpoint exactly what causes what. But the American market is a great market. And I'm happy to say that even though the sales numbers are down, but the amount of sales have kind of been consistent when it was consistent.
Yeah, the general consensus of opinion that I'm getting, being in the States, is actually the market's quite strong. I think it appears to be a little bit stronger here than it is in the UK right now. But even in the UK, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, the watch market is really quiet, it's dead." No, it's not. It's still highly active. All the dealers are still shifting watches every day, but we have lost those backpack flippers in and out of the shop all day, trying to flip this, trying to flip that, highest bidder,
we spent the
highest
majority of our
price.
days during, you know, right after COVID, dealing with guys like that.
Yeah.
And you know what, it was a great addition to the business, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in the basket and say those are the people that we need to rely on.
Yeah, well, they're gone now, I think.
Well,
they're back selling cars, or
they're still there. I mean, ultimately, when you have a Rolex dealer or an AP dealer call you and say, "Hey, I have X.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy it?" The first thing they do is they call me up and say, "Hey, it's costing me this. Would you pay this?"
Yeah, but the price has changed.
Right, and I say, "Hey, you know what? If I can get the same thing for the same price, it doesn't make sense for me to pay you, you know, retail plus for it."
Last question for now. What's your opinion on the authorised dealers and why they keep continually supplying the same people? Is this not, or has this not been part of the problem where you've got one guy that's getting 3 Daytonas a year, 3 subs a year? You know, what is going on there? What's your opinion of that?
I mean, it's hard for me to tell you because I'm not in that world.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I know from the clients that I work with and people that sell me things that come from authorized dealers that they're loyal, you know, to the core. They buy across the board. They buy for their wives, they buy for their children, they buy for their girlfriends. Whatever it may be, they buy. Maybe jewelry, watches. So when the cream of the crop good comes up, they'll buy it. So nobody calculates how much they've lost on a piece of jewelry that they had to buy when they bought the watch.
Sure.
But it's kind of part of the new game that's being played by all three, and it's not something new, to be honest with you. It's been around for a long time. I mean, I remember in '06 in Audemars, you know, they would make you buy a very, you know, expensive diamond piece if you want to buy like a Barrichello or something like that. So a $23,000 Barrichello had ended up costing you $50,000. Not because, you know, that's what the market was demanding. It's because when you calculate your cost with the other watch, that's what it brings. So it's not something that's unheard of.
Yeah.
It's been happening for a long time, and they're, you know, it makes sense for what they do because they want to sell the good with the bad.
Sure.
Not everything flies off the racks.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Boris, it's been absolutely wonderful meeting you. Guys, Motion in Time, New York. If you're in the area, pop in, say Paul sent you and say hello to the guys. Thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate it, brother. It's lovely to meet you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
So I'm with Roddy from Fancy Diamonds in the New York District Diamond Centre. Roddy, thanks for allowing me into your store. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and your business. How long have you been here? What do you do exactly?
So our business has been operating anywhere from about 2010. Something that I've started actually after being worked in the Diamond District from about 2008. We basically sell lots of diamonds, lots of bridal jewelry, along with a lot of watches, a lot of beautiful timepieces. That's about it. We run a retail business out in the New York City Diamond District on the corner of 6th Avenue and 47th Street.
Do you get many tourists? I guess you get a lot of tourists in there.
A lot of tourists,
yeah.
Correct. So
many Brits.
A lot of people coming back. A lot of tourists. We sell to all over the world, not just in New York. And that's pretty much it. You know, we run the retail aspect of the diamonds and the watches.
There's so many dealers in one small area. How do you think they manage to sustain themselves? Because obviously, you know, you're all, in many ways, you're competitive. So how do you all manage to survive?
You have to be competitive, like you said. You know, in our business, it's definitely very competitive. I would say a lot of times you actually sell yourself more than, you know, you sell the product.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
That's always big, right? The way you come over as a dealer,
Absolutely.
as a person, and then you get a repeat customer, hopefully.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what's I mean, obviously I'm mostly into my watches. Mm-hmm. You got a fabulous selection of pre-owned watches here. How are you finding the watch market at the moment?
I would say at the moment the watch market took a little bit of a dip. I wouldn't say too much. There's still a lot of timepieces out there that are very hard to get. A lot of timepieces that are still going for way above retail price.
Sure.
Obviously, it's our job to try to stay competitive and offer the consumer the best price possible. In order to do that, we obviously have to buy right. You know, and that's the motto that we go by, is to buy right in order to sell right and keep the customer happy and try to give the customer the best price. But as far as the watch business goes, I would say that there's a lot of the high-end brands have started to call consumers that are on waiting lists, and they have been trying to push more of their watches, which made the watch market come down a bit and take a little bit of a dip on pricing.
Yeah. So, are you being offered more watches now than you was before?
That is correct. So we're buying a lot more watches, you know, and obviously
so you're still buying.
We're still buying.
Because a lot of dealers, they're not really buying very much at the moment.
Correct. You know, you have to be careful what you buy, and obviously you have to invest your money in the right pieces and the movable items, which is what, you know, we're pretty good at doing. You know, and investing the right item at the right time, and getting it for the right price.
Sure. Difficult question to answer probably, but you know, in an area like this, how many watches might you sell in a week or a month? Do you have an average? Would you say? I
would say we sell anywhere from about 10 to 15 watches a week.
So quite a lot. That's quite a lot of watches, considering how many watches there are in just this road. I don't know how long this road is, but I mean, there's thousands of watches, right? Yeah,
well, correct. Well, don't forget, you know, it's very easy to kind of sell a watch for a low profit margin, as opposed to, you know, holding on to the watch and trying to get really the price that you want. And I would say in the time that we are now, being that the market shifts up and down, you know, we can't really fall in love with our inventory, kind of say. And we have to move the product. So if I see a profit, you know, and I can replace the item for a similar price, if not lower, I would definitely let the watch go.
Looking at your stock, you know, a lot of it is what I would call very late, sort of new or almost new.
Thank you.
Going to ask you a question. You haven't got to answer it, but did you get caught with any price-wise? You know, when the dip happened, did you?
Well, to tell you honestly, the way we operate is we go with the market, and as you see the market dropping, if there are some pieces that you're invested in, we would let them go according to market at that time. And I would say we took some losses on some big pieces, but at the same time it averaged out with the watches that we bought in the past.
I'm glad you said that, because that shows a degree of honesty. Like, look, everyone lost a bit, right?
Just a little bit. Correct.
Some lost a little, some lost a lot, some lost, you know, big amounts, depending on obviously what they were dealing in.
It's about averaging it out at the end of the day, you know. As long as you're in the plus at the end of the day, after selling some, after winning some, losing some, you're...
That's exactly the right attitude. From a dealer, you know, if you do your job properly, think most days it's a good day, right? If
Correct.
you do it badly, then you shouldn't be in the job in the
Correct,
first place.
100%.
So tell me something else that I've seen up and down the street this last couple of days while I've been walking around. Is the lab-grown diamonds. Do you do those yourself here?
Yes, we sell a lot of lab-grown diamonds, and actually, if we're talking about bridal jewelry, the market definitely shifted more towards the lab-grown side. I want to say that lab-grown's been around for a long time. The reason why it's being sold now more than ever is because the price decrease. Obviously, the more diamonds the laboratories are growing, obviously, the price is dipped. And it's very competitive to where the consumer can say, okay, my initial investment instead of $100,000 would be $10,000. In worst case scenario, even if it's worthless, I'm still not investing $100,000 at a time.
I'm really interested in that because personally, when I was a dealer, I only ever dealt in, natural stones, but they really do interest me, and I think they'll interest the viewers a lot as well. When you say lab grown, can you take us through that process a little bit? And because even I don't know exactly what the process is.
Well, lab-grown diamond is pretty much has the same density and the same carbons of a natural diamond. It's also the diamond is being grown under high pressure, high temperature, which is kind of the same thing you get on the ground when the natural diamonds are evolving.
Yeah.
So obviously they finally figured out a process to where they can speed it up and grow the diamond within I would say hours nowadays versus centuries or years under the ground.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there's no way really to tell the difference. As a graduate myself of GIA, I'm a gemologist, and there's no way for me to tell the difference to the naked eye, or even under a magnifying glass at times. I think it's a great selling market for the retail end. As far as wholesale goes, it's a little bit difficult because obviously there's a lot of wholesalers in this. There's a lot of people who grow their own diamonds. Obviously, they can offer it at the best price. So from a wholesale perspective, I think that this market's already gone down to where wholesalers can really make money. But from the retail aspect, there's still some juice left in there for us.
So as you say you're GI qualified.
Correct.
What do you prefer yourself? Do you prefer the natural, or are you sort of moving over towards the lab-grown stuff yourself?
Well, look at it this way. If we are looking long-term and investment purposes, obviously natural is the way to go. When you're spending big bucks and you have the bucks to spend. But if you're buying it as a luxury item to make a girl happy, and for her to wear a 4 or 5 carat diamond for a fraction of the price compared to what you would spend for a natural diamond, I think it's definitely worth it. Again, it's all about the look you're going for, and diamonds truly are a luxury. So it's a luxury item. It's all about we have options. We give the consumer options. We give them the same diamond in
and it's all about keeping the girl happy, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's about keeping your girl happy, and as long as she's okay with getting a lab-grown diamond versus a natural, or vice versa, works with us either way. We're more than happy to sell both items.
Yeah. Are they as resilient as a natural stone?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they don't lose any luster or.
Absolutely not.
Wow,
Absolutely.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. I must admit, they've really taken my eye this week. I think the flash for cash, if you like, is just
basically that's the goal. Yeah, you get the most flash for the cash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
So just going back to your watches for a moment, what are you finding your best sellers right now?
Definitely Rolexes. Rolexes is definitely our best sellers.
Sports models as usual.
Sports models as usual. The Datejust 41 millimeters, which is Rolex's biggest dials that they offer for most affordable price.
Yeah.
It's probably our best sellers.
So for someone coming into, I've retired now, but if I had suddenly decided to want to move to New York and open up a place in the Diamond District, because there's plenty of booths and that available.
Absolutely.
Not that I'm thinking of doing it,
Absolutely.
but how difficult is it for people from the outside coming into an area like this?
Well, I have to say, if you have the money, it's not really so difficult. If you have the money and you have the knowledge, obviously you would need some years of experience in the Diamond District, for you to kind of get the lingo and kind of understand the language of, and understand the competition that you're dealing with,
No different from London, really. really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a London guy would do it.
It's the same all over, I think, in this business. Yeah, pretty much so. So where do you see yourself going, like next year, 2024? Are you going to be continuing in the same fashion, or are you going to go more into watches? How do you see?
To be honest with you, from the years in the past of how we've seen the market go, we kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
And we kind of go with the market, on what's selling, and obviously it's a lot of inventory, that we need to invest to within the year. So we'll be very careful on what we purchase. Make sure we're buying sellable items.
Sure.
So that make sure not to get stuck with it. Being that where the market showed us the last couple of years that it could be very rocky. So it's not like before where we would just go forceful, into something and not worry. In today's market, I would say you have to be very careful with what you're investing into, and most importantly, obviously, at what price.
Yeah, very much so. So I think last question for now before we start looking at some watches. I think every country has their own culture when it comes to like bargaining and bidding and trying to get things cheaper. In the UK, at least, up until recently, it wasn't really in our nature to negotiate too much. The old-fashioned English gentleman, if you like, you were told the price, and the price was the price.
Right.
Obviously, as the years have gone by, that's changed now. We all look to, try and negotiate a price. What are your customers like? Are they hard? Are they as hard with you?
Yes. So within the years, we definitely seen that it's been a little bit more. It's become harder and harder to sell to a consumer, an end consumer, retail consumer. Being that now they kind of educate themselves on the internet. And
they're all dealers, right?
Correct. A lot of them are dealers. And they're very educated, and they come in. So it's our job. Obviously, the only way we could compete is when it comes to pricing. Bargaining is always great. There's only so much room that we would have as.
That's the difficult part, isn't it? When you get right to the line, and it just doesn't become worth doing anymore.
Correct. But listen, I would say that bargaining is a great skill to have, and every consumer should negotiate before they purchase an item. I mean, there's items out there that costed me high, like we spoke about earlier. But being that the market dipped, I'm willing to sell it for even a little bit under cost, and still be safe at my replacement. So. I think it's always great for an end consumer to try to negotiate themselves down a little bit.
So someone was visiting the Diamond District in New York. What would be your number one tip when it came to negotiating?
I would say the number one tip to negotiate, well, before you start negotiating, make sure you love the item.
Yeah.
I always tell to the customer, I said, let's first find something that you love, and then we will start negotiating from there. Because if you don't love the item, even if you're giving it to the consumer for free, they don't want it because they don't love it.
Yeah.
But definitely, always try to negotiate. Don't make offers that that the end dealer would resist. That he wouldn't accept. Because then you're kind of shooting yourself in the leg. Obviously, if you have a reasonable offer, I think it's always good. To make that offer before you leave them.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I always say to people as well is don't negotiate on something that you're not prepared to buy.
Exactly.
Because 100%. It's very frustrating as a dealer, you stand there for 20, 30 minutes or more negotiating on a price, you come to an agreement, and then the customer says, all right, I'll think about it.
Correct.
And that is like, I can say this because I'm retired. I know, you've got to be a bit more polite, but that is so frustrating.
That does get frustrating for me and a lot of my employees as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate
it's been wonderful meeting you.
My door's always open for you.
Thank you for the warm welcome.
My pleasure.
And any customers from the UK, say Paul send you along.
Tell me, we could offer them maybe somewhat of a discount if they say Paul send you along.
That'd be well, you're listening, guys. So
make like a code. We'll do it after the cameras roll.
Exactly, brilliant. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm out at Brooklyn. Now I'm down in Tribeca, right next to De Niro. But I'll be hood forever. I'm the new Sinatra. And since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere. I used to cop in Harlem. All of my Dominicanos right there up on Broadway. Pulled me back to that McDonald's. Took it to my stash spot, 560 State Street. Catch me in the kitchen like a Simmons whipping pastry. Cruising down A Street, off-white Lexus. Driving so slow, but BK is from Texas. Me, I'm out that Bed-Stuy, home of that boy Biggie. Now I live on Bill billboard, and I brought my boys with me. Say what up to Tata, still sipping my top, sitting courtside, Knicks and Nets give me high five. I be spiked out, I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from. With OG at a Yankee game that made the Yankee hat more famous than a Yankee can. You should know I bleed blue, but I ain't a crypto. But I got a gang of walking with my click though. Welcome to the melting pot. Corners where we sellin' Africa been by the home of the hip hop. Yellow cap, gypsy cap, dollar cap, holla back. For foreigners it ain't fair, they act like they forgot how to act. 8 million stories out there in the naked city. It's a pity half of y'all won't make it. Me, I got a plug special ed, I got it made. If Jesus paying LeBron, I'm paying Dwayne Wade. 3 dice CeeLo, 3 card Marley. Labor Day parade, rest in peace Bob Marley. Statue of Liberty, long live the World Trade, long live the King, yo. I'm from the Empire State, that's blinding. Girls need blinders so they could step out of bounds quick. The sidelines is lined with casualties who sip the life casually, then gradually become worse. Don't bite the apple, Eve. Caught up in the in crowd. Now you're in style, and in the winter gets cold. In vogue with your skin out. City of sin, it's a pity on a whim. Good girls going bad, the city's filled with them. Mommy took a bus trip, now she got a bust out. Everybody ride her, just like a bus route. Hail Mary to the city, you're a virgin.
Welcome in Utah, Aviani's beautiful store that we have with all of our luxury jewelry. Yes, we do specialize in hip-hop jewelry and damn near everything else. We're undefeated. Check us out on 28 West 47th Street.
Ball players, rap stars addicted to the limelight. Empty and May got you feeling like a champion. The city never sleeps, better slip you an ambient.
So I've had a really fabulous day here in the Diamond District. I've got to say, the welcome has been exceptional, with a capital E. Everyone's been so friendly. I feel extremely safe here. I've not had any problems whatsoever. Not all of the dealers want a camera shoved in their face or walking around the stores, you know, and I get that, I understand that totally, but you know, generally the reception has been very warm. Most of the guys that sell watches have seen my channel, so that, you know, is a good start. They recognise you, so they're more than happy to welcome you in the stores. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed here is that what I would say is that despite, you know, some reputations and some people having the idea that areas like this are full of dodgy dealers. I mean, look, I can only speak as I find and say that everyone I've spoken to here, and I've spoken to a few people about, you know, some antique objects, gold, prices, diamonds, they've all been really straight up with us. Everything they've told me about the objects I was looking at has been accurate as far as I'm concerned. I've looked at some watches that were custom. I was told straight away that they were custom parts. Nobody's tried to sell me anything that I would say is misdescribed. Yes, at the same time, I suppose you could say that it's not a place for someone that's completely wet behind the ears and really doesn't know anything at all, because, you know, look, in any industry, in any street, you're always going to find someone that might take advantage of you. But I can truthfully say that these guys along here have been wonderful today, and I'm actually really impressed. Yeah, really impressed. I think just the friendliness in general, because in this industry, I've got to say that they're so used to people messing them around at times that they can be a little bit short-tempered, or not short-tempered, but lacking a little bit of patience, should we say. But everyone's been really good. Only had one or two shops where they sort of said, oh, you know, please put the camera down or whatever, and I always respect that, always. In this business, always respect it, because it's a difficult job. But really educational, I think. You know, I've learned a lot whilst I've been here. When I say I've learned a lot about New York, about the area. People from all different race, creeds, colours, religions. You know, they're all mixing happily. They're all very proud to be New Yorkers, and I like that. I think it's fantastic. There's police everywhere. It's definitely safer. How you doing?
All right, man.
Thank you very much. I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, I watch your vlogs all the time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, I appreciate it.
So, a bit of a New York.
Yeah, I'm just doing a bit in New York.
Perfect.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. All the best. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, look, I definitely feel safer here than I do in London, because there's police everywhere, and it just shows you how difficult a watch dealer's job in the UK is by comparison to here in the US, where they have armed guards on every corner, every shop. There's police everywhere. So refreshing to be able to walk around an area and feel safe. And I go back to something else that I know you guys is a little bit contentious, because you know I'm a big advocate of freedom, the right to bear arms, etc. It's ironic that in a city that has more firearms than the entire population of the UK, that they have less problems in an area where there are billions of dollars worth of high-end luxury watches. Why do you think that is? I'm talking to one or two of the security guards here. They tell me, because the bad guys know if they come along, they're probably not going to go home. But make of that what you will. But thoroughly enjoyed my time in New York. It's not up yet. But for now, I think it's time for something to eat.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray right through the very heart of it. New York, New York. I want to wake up in a city that doesn't sleep and find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap. These little town blues are melting away. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York. New York, New York. I want to wake up in a city that never sleeps. And
So my trip to New York is coming to an end. Tomorrow morning I head off to Philadelphia to see our good friend Roman, and looking forward to doing a bit of videoing with him at the Luxury Bazaar HQ. And as always, guess who's coming with me? Go on, I'll see you in a bit.
new start of it in old New York. And if I can make it there, I'm gonna make it anywhere. It's up to you, New